Okay, today we're going to talk about guilt, which is big and awkward. It's also helpful, just like this signboard here. When we feel guilty for something that we've done and we know we should fix it and we take action to fix it, that's a good thing. When we want to atone for mistakes that we've made, guilt is productive. It's when it gets out of control that I want to talk about. I am not talking about, hey, you borrowed somebody's car and you put a ding in it and now you feel guilty because you weren't supposed to borrow their car, right? You should feel guilty. You should go fix that thing, right? But my clients, that is not the guilt that they're most often talking to me about. Their guilt is that they worked 8 hours and went home, or that they took their scheduled vacation. That guilt, that's the one I want to talk about. The other guilt is when we're not doing what we should be doing, what we have told ourselves that we're going to do, and we're feeling guilty about it, but we're still never going to take that action, but instead we're going to kind of punish ourselves. That's the two specific guilts I want to talk about. So you really have to know what's going on in your head. For this one here, guilt. The circumstances, you're working 8 hours and going home. Your thought is, I need to keep working to show that I'm dedicated. Right? I need to be dedicated or I'm going to lose my job. I need to keep working to show that I'm dedicated. I have to do this thing because we feel guilt. I should be working 8 hours and the feeling is guilt, but there's also that fear tied to it. And then what we do is we don't leave on time then, and then we work a lot more to show that we're dedicated. To who? I want to know who you're showing your dedication to. Your CEO is not watching you. Most people at work only notice when you leave too early. They for sure notice that. If you're skating early, they all notice. Every last one, and they'll tell everybody. When you're working late, they're not telling anyone about that. Maybe a couple people near you that are also working late would like to call your attention to the fact that you're all working late, right? But for the most part, your guilt's not getting you a result you want. It's either causing you to overdo. The other thing is if you don't take the action, in other words, you work your 8 hours, but you feel guilty, and then you just do a little penance for it. You have that uncomfortable feeling. You don't let yourself enjoy the fact that you've left. So let's say you don't log in all weekend. You don't check any emails all weekend, and you feel guilty about that. And you still are at the point, you're far enough advanced now that you're not going to log in. But you just feel guilty, and you kind of punish yourself for it, so you don't get to enjoy your weekend anyway, right? And that makes it okay, because it's okay that I didn't log in because I felt guilty about it. Little creepy little things these thoughts are. So what I want to encourage you to do is to really look at your guilt. When you feel guilt, figure out what you're thinking, write it down. Don't do this in your head. It doesn't work. You have to write it on a piece of paper so that it can become an object. And write down what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what your results are, your actions and results, just like we do in session. Analyze your own guilty feelings that are over the top guilt, or are guilt for things that you're going to do anyway. I feel guilty I don't work on my vacation, but it turns out I'm not going to work on my vacation because I don't want to. But I'm going to feel guilty about it so I can do a little penance for it. Doesn't help anybody. So figure out your different styles of guilt. Of course, you got to keep the ones that are productive, and there are some, and they're very small. The amount of things you have to atone for every day is really small, right? What are the things where you actually should, right, get out there and fix that thing that you did? You spoke out of turn and you criticized somebody in front of somebody else. Now you owe them an apology. That's the way it is. Go apologize. That guilt you can keep. But you are not berating people 10 times a day and needing to apologize 10 times a day. So why are you feeling guilt 10 times a day, right? Ask yourself that question. Is this a guilt about something I legitimately need to fix? Or is this just a generalized anxiety and guilt about something I'm doing to change my life for the better? Right? You want to really analyze that. And is it anxiety or is it guilt? Or is it shame? Right? Shame means we feel that we ourselves inherently are bad. Guilt is we think we've done something to somebody else. And then anxiety is simply nervous. We think we're going to get caught and something bad will happen to us. And we tend to blend those all together. So sort them out. Do you feel guilt, which is you've done something to hurt somebody else? Shame, there's something inherently wrong with me. Or anxiety, I'm a little nervous I'm going to get caught doing this. Right? Which one is it? And then lay it out for yourself and then decide, are you getting any good results out of that? If you're not, it's time for you and shame to go splitsville, or you and guilt to break up. It's time to send a Dear John letter to anxiety, right? Dear guilt, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not apologizing. Until you tell me something I can use, you and I are done. Dear shame, I'm a human being on the planet. I don't appreciate you reminding me of things that aren't true. You and I are done. Dear anxiety, I don't mind a little nudge now and then to get my things done that I really want to get done, but this overarching anxiety has got to go. I'm not the kind of girl that gets any benefit from that, so I'm not going to think like that anymore, right? Just really, you really want to look at these emotions, pick them apart. When you are doing what you set out to do and you don't feel good about it, really look at that and ask yourself if the thoughts that you're thinking are helping you. Sometimes anxiety is just simply that knowing, like you promised yourself you would do something and you didn't do it and you feel a little anxious. You're postponing, you're procrastinating. That anxiety that comes from procrastination, go off and do the damn thing. Right? When you feel that, go do the thing. Stop doing a penance and not doing it, right? But if you're just punishing yourself for doing what you set out to do, taking a vacation, you really need to look at that. And the way to look at it is every time it comes up, do it. Do 10 or 20 models on that situation. Look at it 10 or 20 times, and you will start to see a pattern for yourself objectively. This never gets me a result that's good. And then it's really easy to write that Dear John letter. Dear anxiety, you and I, Splitsville.